Hello, everyone. I hope you're all enjoying the 2021 Poster Symposium for Undergraduate Research and Creativity. My name is Amelia Sunnen, and I am a junior in Virginia Commonwealth University's Department of Anthropology in the School of World Studies. I created this presentation for Anthropology 370, Visualizing and Exhibiting Anthropology, with my professor, Dr. Bernard K. Mean. My presentation is entitled At the Feet of the Gods, Describing Iconography of Himalayan Hindu Temples. While we are all still practicing our social distancing, please enjoy this virtual trip to a museum and a virtual trip across the world to the Himalayas. Abstract. From the last 2 centuries BCE through the first millennium CE, the Himalayan regions of northern India contributed to the characterization of Hindu deities by intertwining Hindu mythology with elemental spiritual figures indigenous to the area. This presentation explores the iconography and connections between religious artifacts from archaeological sites in northern India, primarily in the state of Uttarakhand. These artifacts were excavated and conserved by the HNB Garhwal University Museum of Himalayan Archaeology and Ethnography and, at their invitation, scanned by Dr. Bernard K. Means and digitally archived by the Virtual Curation Laboratory, or VCL, at Virginia Commonwealth University. In the 21st century, Uttarakhand's pilgrimage and tourism-based economy was already under pressure from development and climate change before COVID-19 halted worldwide travel. Members of the Virginia Commonwealth University community can experience these remarkable artifacts through this presentation as part of the VCU Poster Symposium for Undergraduate Research and Creativity, through the VCL's online Sketchfab collection, and in an upcoming virtual museum curated by me, Amelia Sunnen. Himalayan and Hindu spirituality. Uttarakhand is home to several important pilgrimage sites, including the origin of the sacred river Ganges, and has contributed to Indian culture through the blending of Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and indigenous Himalayan belief systems. In all parts of the world, archaeology gives a voice to peoples who are not represented in the written record. Legends and worship practices that were transcribed in Hindu religious texts were those that were accepted by the elite Brahmin class, and the beliefs and practices of indigenous Himalayans may have been different, especially in the last 2 centuries BCE and the first 2 centuries CE, when Hinduism was moving into the region. Exploring the material culture of Himalayan spirituality gives us a more complete picture. Because Hindu religious practices have always taken place both in public and domestic settings, archaeologists should look for religious artifacts from dwelling sites as well as temples to get a better picture of the beliefs and practices of ordinary Himalayans. Hinduism and indigenous spiritual practices have been described by Lahiri and Bacchus as simultaneously, quote, in dialogue and competition with each other, unquote. Likewise, the archaeologist must simultaneously marvel at the iconographic consistency that makes religious scenes and entities instantly recognizable, while also embracing regional diversity in how these events and entities are interpreted. The top image on the left is a view overlooking the origin of the Ganges in Srinagar, or Garhwal, in the state of Uttarakhand. This photo was taken by Dr. Means. The bottom image is the temple at the Ranihat archaeological site in Uttarakhand, where one of the statues of Mahishasuramardini in this presentation was scanned. This photo was also taken by Dr. Means. Lord Shiva's Himalayan roots. Of the major Hindu deities, Lord Shiva has the strongest connection to the Himalayas with his mythical home atop Mount Kailash and his most important pilgrimage site at Kedarnath in Uttarakhand. Shiva altars, known as lingam, are often described as phallic, but they also reflect the high mountain peaks, and there are several natural formations in the Himalayas that are revered as lingam. Shiva's vengeful form, Rudra, may have originated as an indigenous Himalayan deity whose attributes were assimilated by the Hindu god. Bhairava is another form of Shiva that is frequently worshipped in the Himalayas, and preference for this form may be more prevalent here than in other areas of India. Another way indigenous Himalayan spiritualism was blended with Hinduism was the incorporation of local goddesses into the Hindu Devi, who has many manifestations, including Mahishasuramardini. Some indigenous goddess figures were adopted into Hinduism as wives of Hindu gods, forming a symbolic spiritual alliance. The relationship between Shiva and Parvati reverses this phenomenon. Parvati is the daughter of a Brahmanic figure, and Shiva's roots in Himalayan tradition offer one of many possible interpretations for her father's refusal to allow their marriage. On the left, you can see an iron depiction of Lord Shiva's trident dating to the 6th or 7th century outside the Shiva temple at Rudranath, also known as Gopinath. This photo was taken by Dr. Means. On the right side, you can see a Shiva lingam scanned at Narayan Koti in Uttarakhand. This image is from the Virtual Curation Lab's online collection of 3D scanned artifacts. And if you go to the link listed below, you can see a 3D image that you can turn and view from different angles. Mahishasuramardini. In her manifestation as Mahishasuramardini, the goddess Durga takes on the combined strength and attributes of the principal male Hindu deities to fight the demon Mahisha, carrying weapons bestowed on her by them, such as Shiva's trident. You may recognize this trident from the image on one of the previous slides. Archaeological artifacts at the Ranihat site date from 600 BCE to 1200 CE. This statue shows Mahishasuramardini, also known as Durga, standing with her right foot on the back of the demon Mahisha in buffalo form, while one hand on the left side deals a blow to the demon's head. Mahisha, the demon, is sometimes portrayed as a full buffalo and other times as having the legs of a buffalo and the torso of a man, because he takes both forms during their mythical battle. Her tiger Vahana is attacking the buffalo demon from the rear. Iconographic and textual depictions of Mahishasuramardini have as many as 18 arms, all wielding different weapons and objects of significance. Both statues in the VCL's collection depict Mahishasuramardini plunging Shiva's trident between the shoulder blades of the buffalo demon in her traditional pose with trident in right hand and bell in left hand. The bell as a weapon is an especially important part of Mahishasuramardini iconography in the Himalayas. Overall, both statues have an almost identical pose, and you can see this on the larger poster image at the beginning of this slideshow. You'll notice that this statue depicted here, both images are the same statue. One is Dr. Means on the left scanning the statue in the Ranihat temple, and on the right you have an image taken from the 3D image that you can see and turn and view from different angles on the Virtual Curation Laboratories Sketchfab site. On the poster image at the beginning of this slideshow, you can compare the size of this statue that you can see in this picture with Dr. Means scanning it with the much smaller statue that is being scanned with a tabletop scanner. Even though there's this significant difference in size between these two statues, the iconography and the pose are almost identical. Vahanas, steeds of the gods. Vahanas have a literal function as the steeds or vehicles of the gods, carrying them on their backs or in drawn chariots, but they also contribute metaphorical attributes. Kartikeya is the Hindu god of war. Even though the statue on the bottom right is fragmented and missing the torso and head, Kartikeya can still be readily identified by his peacock Vahana at his feet. This Kartikeya statue is an example of how recognizing Vahana iconography can help archaeologists identify the subject of an artifact when other features are missing. In the two statues in this exhibit, Mahishasuramardini's tiger Vahana actively assists her in her battle against the demon. This Vahana is sometimes portrayed as a lion instead of a tiger, or as two lions pulling the goddess in a chariot. The most plentiful Vahana artifacts in the H&B Garhwal Museum collection are depictions of Nandi, Shiva's bull Vahana, as you can see on the top right. Both of these artifacts can be viewed at the Virtual Curation Laboratory's Sketchfab site using the links listed below, where you can turn and view these artifacts and zoom in and see them from all different angles. Acknowledgements. I would like to thank Virginia Commonwealth University for the wonderful opportunity to present at the 2021 Poster Symposium for Undergraduate Research and Creativity. Thank you to my faculty research advisor, Dr. Bernard K. Means, as well as to the HNB Garhwal University Museum of Himalayan Archaeology and Ethnography for allowing Dr. Means to scan artifacts in their collection, and to the U.S. Department of Defense for their financial support of the Virtual Curation Laboratory at Virginia Commonwealth University. All of the digital artifacts referenced in this presentation are freely downloadable at the links in the image captions. References for this presentation are available upon request. Stay safe and be well.